researchers. Very grateful to have a lot of professors and faculty on the webinar, and PhD scholars, everyone in different journeys. But throughout whatever journey you take, literature review is a thing that you have to kind of consecutively do on newer ideas and newer topics. So yeah, very thankful for all of you. Let me kick off by sharing my screen. So we'll go through few basics on SciSpace, because there are a few that don't know much about SciSpace. So we'll tell them. So our focus will be more on literature review and then deep review. So we'll try to cover a good amount of material for basic users, as in people who are new to SciSpace or just used it a bit, and we'll also cover a lot of material to go in depth on and get the best out of SciSpace, right? So yeah, let me share my screen quickly. All right, Deepak, can you quickly confirm if you can see the slides? Yeah, okay.
I can see the slide.
Yeah. All right. So quick introduction about me. So I am originally a researcher at IIT Hyderabad. So IIT is basically the Indian Institute of Technology. I was there for my graduate program there, and later I published multiple papers in some of the top conferences in AI ML side of things. So NeurIPS, ECIR, Triple AI, Rexis. And currently, I'm leading the research team at SciSpace. So we are the team that is like the brain behind the tools. So any quality or what should be the final output, that is the responsibility of our team, right? So quick introduction. So yeah, it's important that we also have some researcher insight, and that's why a researcher can also understand what are the pain points that other researchers go through. So that helps a bit. Yeah, so straight away jumping into things. So yeah, so SciSpace literature review, what is our main aim and what do we do? So one of our aim is rapid discovery, right? So we have a corpus of, let's say, 270 million plus papers. Our aim is that all our users should be able to find maximum possible relevant literature in minimal possible time, right? So that's straightforward but difficult to achieve. So that's our main aim, be it whatever tool we are building, be it literature review or deep review, right? Secondly, our aim is that we want to try to understand user queries as much as possible, so that we can understand the true intention behind the query for a user and give the best possible results for that situation. Thirdly, we know that even on top of any result, uh, let's say be it Google search also, right? We have some filters which we use sometimes. But in research, we have seen, be it PubMed or be it Google Scholar, people like to use some filters. People like to use, let's say, Google Scholar Boolean queries is a way of using some filters. In PubMed, people use a lot of filters. So we try to provide as much possible filters, on all our tools. So these are some of our common goals that we try to achieve. Uh, Secondly, let's have a very high level understanding on how a literature review works from a AI side of things, right? So step one, whenever user fires a query, our job, like we mentioned previously, is to understand the user query and try to fire multiple queries for the user from our behalf, basically, right? The reason multiple queries is because it can give you more diversified results. It can, sometimes you use one word, but there are multiple words for it used in the various literature. So you kind of get those papers. And it helps to gather more relevant literature. So that's the step one. Secondly, based on all those queries, we try to do a semantic search, which is so let's understand. So first we do a keyword search, which is very easy to understand, what works on Google Scholar. That's entirely keyword search. So that's something similar we do on the SciSpace side. Secondly, we do something called semantic search. So where AI tries to understand the meaning of your query and then give results accordingly, right? So semantic is a word very common in the AI world, but simple term is understand the semantic meaning of the query rather than the keywords only. So we use both because the combination always gives the best possible results. Then when we had the user query, we also try to, extract out some of the criteria of what makes a paper relevant to the user query. Now, based on those criteria, we try to find, okay, we found a huge set of papers, maybe 400 papers. Now, which of these papers are really relevant to the user query? That's step number 3. And maybe we found 10 papers which are highly relevant, 15 which are mid relevant, and some which are like okay relevant, right? Then the final step is to rank all of them to give the best final set to the user, where user can, quickly go through them or look at the summary and all of those things. I hope these things are high level clear, right? You can maybe just in the chat type a yes, saying if you understood whatever I spoke so far. Okay, I don't know where the Zoom went, but yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, I hope I'm not going too fast, but we do have a lot of material that I want to cover with you guys, and that will, I don't want to do injustice for your time because you're spending an hour or more here to understand things, right? So yeah, coming back to literature review, I'll go to the website after this, but we have 3 modes, right? As soon as you go to SciSpace.com, you'll see standard, high quality, deep review. And this is a very common question that we get in all the webinars. What is standard? What is high quality? What is deep review? So let me try to clarify. In standard mode, we try to get the result as fast as possible. We try to look at maybe, let's say a little bit lesser number of papers, right? Maybe we look at 250 papers to find what is relevant, right? From the whole corpus, we try to shortlist 250, and then within that, we try to check which are relevant, right? In high quality, we fire a bit more queries for the user, and we look at a lot more papers, maybe 500 to 1000, 500-ish, let's say, on the high quality. So usually high quality might take few seconds extra, but it will give you few more extra papers. So in terms of, academic research, when people want to do literature review, they want as all possible relevant papers because the literature review should be very thorough. So in high quality, you will get more papers than standard which are relevant to your query. Now, deep review is something we launched a few months ago. That's, if you have used the OpenAI or ChatGPT deep research, uh, I wouldn't call it similar, but the concept for that in academic research, which does a lot better than anything ChatGPT offers in academic, right? So in deep review, what we do is we try to follow what a researcher would follow. We fire around 5 to 15 queries for the user. We understand the query better than standard and high quality. We understand even the filters in the query, a lot of the other things. We Now, what does a researcher do? Let's say without SciSpace, let's say if I go to Google Scholar, I find a paper relevant. Now I'll go to its citations and references, right? That's where I get the next set of relevant papers. So that is what we do in deep review, where like iteratively, firstly, we found a lot of good papers. Then for each of those relevant papers, we'll go through the citations and references and find more relevant papers because that loop gives, is what helps in research. So and then we combine all of that, and the amount of papers you get is very high. It's like sometimes you can get 100 200 relevant papers for a topic depending on how niche you go, and that kind of gives you a very thorough review of your domain and stuff. So that's deep review, uh, right? I hope that's pretty clear. Okay, so we'll stop this presentation and go to demo. So you go to scispace.com. That is where you our website is, and as soon as you go, let me zoom in maybe so that it's visible for everyone. As soon as you go, you see these 3 modes, and you see a bunch of tools on the side, right? So for people who are new to SciSpace, I would say our USP is that we try to provide a more wholesome research platform where you get to do a lot of things, where multiple tools are connected to each other. So it's a research workspace that we provide, right? So that is our main, USP, where we are not just a literature review tool, or we are not just a chat with PDF tool, or not just for writing, or not just for citations, and so on. We are a tool for trying to be a tool for entire research workspace, and then doing good in each of the tasks, which is a tough one to do, but that's what we are trying to manage. Uh, right. So yeah, you have a bunch of tools. Now, let's maybe start with a standard review, right? So yeah, so now in the agentic world, uh, let's take some agent-based queries, right? And one thing I would suggest as a prompt tip, again, in the literature review, in standard and high quality, it works better with questions, is a prompt tip, right? So let's say, hey, what are the use cases or uses of AI agents in the field of agriculture? Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if there are. Let's see. And the question mark. So we also give these suggestions. If anything relates to you more, you can try it out. Yeah. So this is the fastest of all, and this can solve a lot of your use cases. I would say when you don't want to go very thorough, use literature review. When you want to go thorough, use deep review. That's how I would look at it. Right now we got an answer. So yeah, there are papers. Okay, artificial intelligence in agriculture, current applications. All the latest papers are here. Nice. Right. So yeah, you got all the latest papers. So the prompt tip here is obviously use questions as much as possible. It works a bit better, is what we know. So okay, what to do next? As a researcher, now I've got some answers. Usually, a researcher would read this, get an idea for your topic. So maybe I don't know exactly how good this result is because it's not my domain entirely. But yeah, so the next steps is one, you can save it to a notebook, right? So you can save it, create a new notebook, let's say agriculture and AI. So I created a new notebook, right? Now I'll save it to that notebook. So if you look, I have like, if I'm kind of writing a report on this topic, I have a good start, right? Yeah, so we'll cover the notebook later, I think in a separate webinar, but that's like a next action for most people who want to write a report, is take this to notebook, and interestingly, you'll get all the citations, everything there. So, okay, what next? What other things? So I'm a researcher now. Okay, these are coming from different journals and conferences. I don't know which of them are good quality and not. So we have something called top papers as a filter. So so what it says is show papers from top journals and conferences. So to be very specific, because I know what happens in the back end, in journals, there is based on the impact factor, there is a Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 score, or rather a metric assigned to each journal. So here, if you select top papers, the papers will only be from Q1 journals. And in conferences, there's A star, B, C kind of rating assigned. So only A and A star conferences will be picked if you select top papers. So now you select top papers, right? So this is again what a lot of people who directly start using might miss out because there's so many things on the UI. So now, okay, I've got from agronomy, IEEE access, artificial intelligence, agriculture, computer and electronics, food chemistry, and so on, right? So this is the next thing. Now, let's say we pick one of these names. So what next? So now many researchers have this requirement that the paper should be from top paid conferences only, because sometimes there can be noise and so on and so forth. So depending on your requirement, you can select. We have filters for PDF, where if you select this, that means SciSpace has the PDF for it. right? Now that reduces the count a bit, but yeah, that's fine. But then you can directly, chat with it and all so on and so forth. Now, if you, the advantage of SciSpace having the PDF is you can directly chat with it here itself. And then your chat also gets stored on this platform. You can add that to notes. So that interconnection of tools is what. So I would suggest, like, let's say if you click on this paper, it will open this paper with the PDF on the left side. Now, the advantage with if SciSpace has the PDF, and that is why you should use the PDF filters, is you can directly get a summary of it, a big, a section-wise summary, but it's a shorter read than the paper. I believe this paper is also quite big. Yeah. So this is like a 10-minute read thing compared to the PDF being very big, right? So it's a 20-page PDF. You can read the summary and you can ask any question, right? Okay. Hey, what are the contributions of this paper, for example? So that is the flow where we have that USP where all the tools are connected. You jump from lit review to notebooks, lit review to chat with PDF. Now you got the answer with all the citations. You can locate where it came from. Let's say this one came from the table, so it's even reading the table here, and so on and so forth. So now you have the option to save this to notebook. Now the earlier notebook for agriculture and AI, now I have this answer also next to it, right? So that's how my report can start getting formed, where I do a literature review. I look at the top papers from top journals. I chat with PDF, ask few questions, add those to my notes, uh, and so forth. And you can just copy and paste also. That's also there. I read the summary, I understand few papers, or you can even ask, give a summary in one paragraph or the same paragraph. Yeah. Uh, Yeah, now I can just read this one paragraph summary, which is, uh, and then decide whether I want to read this paper thoroughly or not. So again, coming back to this, right? So these are some of the flow tips that I was giving. Now you have this sort by option. Again, you can, in some cases, have a requirement where you want to get the latest papers, get the papers with high citation. You can do that. You have export options. Now let's say you want to take this report into CSV and submit somewhere. So you have these export options as well. And there are some more filters. You can try year, publication type, like only journals, ignore conference, patents, and all those things. You can type a select journals. Let's say I search for agronomy. Right now, I have multiple agronomy journals. If I select one, I'll only get the papers from that journal. Right. And what things that you write in Boolean queries, right? Usually, like, hey, title should have this, or abstract should have this and abstract should not have this. All those things you can use here, right? I hope this is clear. Let's quickly shift to high quality. The only change that will happen is the number of papers which are relevant will increase. uh, and the filters currently, since they are here, they'll stay. Some internal algorithm improves these answers and stuff. So one of the most important thing on literature is you can add columns, right? Uh, Now I can just say, hey, results, what are the results from each? And you'll get this column where you can quickly go through all the PDFs in one shot, right? This is something that's very valuable. So yeah, a quick yes on understanding everything so far would be good. So I know I can move on to the next topic, which is the deep review part. I'll wait for a minute so that you guys can say yes. And uh, if there are any questions, keep posting in the Q&A section. We'll take all the questions at the end as much as we can. And rest, Discord or email, our aim is to ensure we answer everything. All right, we have some yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving on to deep review. Now, if you go to this literature review part, we have something called deep review, which I told in at the start uh, that it does a more thorough thing. So we'll take a look at it. So okay, I was also, so trying out multiple queries of what queries to show. So then I thought, okay, let me show a query from my domain so that I understand the results better for deep review. So let's say my initial query is, okay, RLHF, which is a reinforcement learning methods for fine tuning LLMs in natural language. Okay, let's fire this query. Let's see what happens. So in deep review, one important thing is it doesn't directly start, running the task. The reason being it's a longer task. We want to understand the user's thought process thoroughly. So if you look, you'll first get a set of questions written from the LLM, basically asking for more details. Let's say, hey, what aspects of this are you most interested in? What is the purpose of your research so that the report can be formed accordingly? Are you focusing only on NLP, and within NLP, what and the scope and so on? So you can answer this at the bottom. I hope this is okay. Let me put this at the top for now. Yeah, so at the bottom, there is this thing where you can answer. So again, how would you answer this is also a prompt tip. So for example, first answer is only reward modeling, let's say. So I can just copy paste this. Second is, okay, my aim is academic study. Or let's say my aim is literature survey. Third is all in NLP. And fourth is detailed analysis. Right? See, if you don't have any specifications, you can just type all of the above or none of the above, any natural language. But if you want to really answer each question, which I would recommend doing, because that gives it a lot more perspective on your, real core intention behind it, and more details, trying to go more niche and stuff. So I would always recommend answering it. But you can just say, hey, all of the above, none of the above, and it will understand things itself. Right now, we finally submit and we let it run. So again, how to answer this is again a prompt tip to say. So it starts firing multiple queries. We also internally fire some, but we try to be as transparent as possible so that you get to know key, okay, what queries were fired, what were the results for those queries. So, okay, first query it fired, it got 99 good papers on various, it's again changed the query, fired again. Now again, the papers count can increase. We might get more relevant papers. So it went to 170 papers. So this is decently niche, but not extremely niche. So there will be a lot of papers on this topic. You can go more niche within one, let's say, one specific RLHF technique also. So if you see reinforcement learning, so you're getting all the relevant papers. Now it's already, the count is 200 papers. So if I am a PhD scholar researching on this topic, this is a great start because I might get, around 200 to 300 papers to initially start with. Obviously, you can't read them all, but in the table through columns, you can quickly shortlist because you're already dealing with relevant papers here, right? So you got 257 papers. Now, like a researcher, we are going through the citations of all of this and references to find any more additional works, right? So we found, let's say, 54 more relevant papers. Okay, so it's sorted all the papers. Let's put some survey papers on top because they have the maximum coverage, right? So that's, so it, now if you look at things, I mentioned that my aim is literature survey. So it tried to put the survey papers on top, right? If you look at the thing, a lot of the survey papers are on top, which is great. So that is why you should answer these questions in 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you look, you get a way bigger report. A tip, we are releasing a new update to this by tomorrow. So we'll get like a 15-page literature report. which is great. I feel now you guys can give your feedback and we're happy to improve or update, right? But this is the current report that you'll see if you try today. So you get key components, what are the challenges and stuff. So it's citing like all the papers, 20 papers it's able to cite. And then it gives a key conclusion. You can again save this to notebook, obviously write feedback to us on how you feel. So yeah, this is one, whole deep review report. You can obviously add columns because it might be like, okay, I got 200 papers, which is very, how do I process all of this? Maybe you have some specific criteria, add it in a column, look at the outputs, and then decide, okay, maybe out of the 200, another further criteria, maybe only 50 of them satisfy. All of those things, and you can again add filters and so on and so forth, right? So this is the introduction to deep review. We have now we'll go into what kind of prompts in deep review you can give to make it work even better, right? So this is the crux of the thing. So we'll share some prompt templates at the end, which we have already seen. Now, okay. So you saw this, right? Let me go back to the literature review. We'll fire another query, right? Okay, what query to fire? So let's try a query on medical thing. So I have run some queries and stuff, but I'd show you that myself. So let's say now one of the things that sometimes I want to focus is only survey papers, right? In the previous query, we did search all of them, and survey papers came on top because we mentioned we were doing literature review. But I might have, papers, a requirement where I want only survey papers. Now, let's say hey, survey papers in for lung cancer treatments. And another filter I could add is, published in last 5 years. So now these are the things that you can't do on the normal literature review, but these are things you can easily do on the deep review. So last 5 years, maybe you can specify, so this is the prompt tip. You can specify what kind of papers you're looking at. It could be meta review papers. It could be different kinds of papers. It could be demo papers. I mean, not in lung cancer treatments, but it could be demo papers in different domains. And you can have key when were they published? Published after 2020, published in 2024, published in last 10 years, whatever. So this is the prompt tip, right? Now let's see what do we get for this. Right now, again, since this is not my domain, I will just try to type all of the above answer because I am not very familiar with the domain. Now, if you look, it has already identified this filter, and internally, we also, let's say, try to take this internal filter, which is not yet shown here. So this becomes a criteria for relevance for us. Right. So now it will only look at last 5 years paper and will focus on survey papers. So now landscape, a systematic review, if you look a new perspective, retrospective analysis. So if you look at all the papers we are getting, you can always look, they are more survey oriented, current landscape, current progress, the systematic review, a systematic review, a systematic review. So that's how well it can understand if you, really clarify what you want, right? So there are some, if I have, yeah, this was another query I fired on a topic of my interest, survey papers which talk about RLHF. Yeah, so here, if you look at the final results, it's heavily survey, comprehensive survey, a survey again, right? So if you want meta review, you get that. If you want, whatever you want, LLM can try to get you exactly that, right? So we usually, when we rank the papers, the most relevant come on top. So that will be like the perfect papers. Then we also, our aim is to not just give most relevant because we have realized that users sometimes want a bit less relevant papers also, because that paper can give them new insights. So we also give a bit less relevant papers after that, but most relevant are obviously on the top. Right. So here again, it fired multiple queries, big long queries, added the filters, and generating results. Awesome. So we covered like one prompt tip to use survey papers or meta review or whatever and then in last 5 years. Now let's try another tip. So basically what we are telling is be as specific about various things. Now let me share you another tip. So this is another query I had tried. Yeah. So okay, what is interesting is you can also tell it what journal to look at. So this is a query I was just trying. Okay, not this one. Yeah. So okay, because in the interest of time, I had run the query so that because it takes 3 to 5 minutes to generate, and we have time is of very high value for you guys. So we'll try to be as faster as possible. So now we covered survey papers we covered in last 5 years. Now we want only from Nature journal, right? So many times we have some condition to, okay, we are looking at only the Cell journal, or in my case, only the NeurIPS conference, and so on. So you can add that also in the query. Right now, if we look at the results, so this is Nature. So you'll get all the papers from Nature, right? So this is another prompt tip that we have, right? So okay, let's try another thing. Okay, so I hope this is also high value. So the whole core I'm getting to is be as specific. Try to put all your criterias in very clear terms. Hey, I want this only. I want papers. Again, you can also put I want papers with PDF only here itself, right? Okay, let's go back. There's an interesting query that since biomedical is a very popular domain also, and the query I'm searching is quite basic, so everyone can understand the query, and I can also. So let's continue on that lung cancer treatment line of things, so that it's pretty common. So okay, another query with a prompt tip. With clinical trials. So now I'm being very specific, okay, that I want that paper to have done some clinical trials for the treatment. And it should have more than 1,000 participants. Mandatory. That's being very strict. LLM, don't miss this. Right. Okay, so let's see what happens. So not just journal name or year or type of paper, you can be very specific. Or in my world, let's say I can say, hey, the paper should have worked on this data set, or paper should have used this chemical in the chemical domain. So you can be that specific, right? So okay, I would just say all. Again, you can again say one something, all two. All outcomes 3, maybe let's say Asia, since I'm from Asia. All methods 4. So I'm giving answers to all 4 questions, let's say this. But I don't know if we should restrict to Asia, let's say all entire world. So these are my answers. So okay, let's see what kind of papers it comes up. So okay, I have the results for this rather than waiting for the results to come up. So this is my query where I just said all. Yeah, now let's look at the paper. So firstly, look at the treatments. If anyone is in this domain, you might know better than me. Right, so it's some Keynote 1989 trial, some Checkmate 9LA trial. So firstly, they are all clinical trials. Okay. Uh, so, and if you look, the report is very specific. What happened in the trial, right? It tells like the median, this was this month's, and HR, to be honest, I don't even know these terms, but it looks very specific to me. What happened in 4-year follow-up, because in cancer treatments, the follow-up is probably more important. Uh, so this, for someone in the world of lung cancer treatments, would be very valuable. Now, again, interesting, right? So this, since we asked you to focus on participants, it found a lot of trials with more than 1,000. And because we want everyone to, also get the medium level, okay, not 1,000, a bit less than 1,000. So we have some with lower also, but the 1,000 ones have the highest, relevance for us. But we also give the other ones because, see, if I'm looking at 1,000, maybe the 600 one might also be something I'm curious about. Right now, if you look at result, the first paper has 1,000, then this is 600, this is again 9,000, and so forth. So now it's focusing on trials. So it has ignored papers which don't talk about clinical trials, which have very little participants, and so on and so forth. So this one has 10,000 participants and so on. So this is another trick, right? That you can put very specific information. Now you can also, since we were trying, let's try a query where we say, hey, again, so the agents for agriculture. So AI agents for agriculture. Consider papers with PDF only. Okay, let's try with that. So PDF, because I want PDF so that I can, chat with them further down the line. And again, going back to this, you can always, add this entire thing to your notebook. Hold on, I have a lot of notebooks. Agriculture. Okay, let me create a new notebook. So this is my lung cancer report. And now I will add to that notebook. Right now, if you see, you have the entire report here, which is a very good start to a, for your report you are working on. And you get the citations also in the format that you like. And at the bottom, you have all the references involved, and you can select the style. It could be APA, it could be MLA, whichever, or it could be, some, I think Cell Journal has their own style. So if you just select Cell, and it's updating the references to the Cell Journal style. So this is like the next steps, what you do after this. All right. Yeah, going back to AI agents and agriculture. So consider papers with PDF only, right? All aspects, let's say. I'll just say run, maybe. You can just say run, will run. Ignore all the questions and run. It will just assume as wide as possible. So it has now used the filter that papers with PDF available, and it will try to just look at those papers. So this takes a couple of minutes. All right. In the meanwhile, you guys can tell me if you are enjoying this, if you are getting value out of it, if you are finding new information. Give me a thumbs up or a yes, or let me know what things that, hopefully there are things that you didn't know before that you found out. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is finding out a lot of papers. So it's saying intelligent agriculture mechanism and all those things. Now, if I just open some of the papers, which let's wait for it to end, and we'll see that all of them have PDFs, and then we can chat with it. And that's how we take the next steps. So, okay, let's open a paper. Right now here we have the PDF, and then, okay, let's see if this paper is good for me. I'll just look at what are the contributions of this paper. So this is my go-to question quickly. And this is something I've seen, that abstract is very valuable. So some people have the habit of reading abstract. I ask LLM a question to answer from throughout the paper. So that can also, and I like this formatting a bit more, where it's like bullet points and sections. So what it tells is development and implementation of a smart irrigation system. Awesome. Okay. Uh, so it's managing entire IoT system, I'm guessing, from what I can see. So you can remotely to connect to iPad and iPhones. You have cloud. So maybe this is of an interest for me, and I can ask follow-up questions and so forth. So let's go back to the results. Is it completed? Yeah. So it found 310 papers, which is a lot. So now this report looks very, very good, right? AI agents for this, AI agents for that. So it has itself categorized the agents for different use cases within agriculture, right? Yeah. So there are multiple use cases. In each, there are citations. And then at the end, we have like a high level table. And if you look now, all papers have the PDF. And you can just look at the summary here itself. It will generate. So this is also another way. You don't even need to go to the PDF page. You can just generate the summary here. Right? You have a summary of this paper. You can read, decide. We have something called podcast, which will give you a two people conversation on this paper. That's sometimes fun to hear if you're traveling, or if you want to just sip coffee and just listen to the podcast, because they try to get to very explain very easy terms and in a fun way. I've enjoyed at times listening to the podcast. uh, awesome. Let's see what people are saying. In literary deep review, no need to enter questions. Deep review also you can enter questions, that's totally fine. All right. It's, yeah, great to have the 15 pages. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so you can ask research gaps to this. So we'll come to all the questions at the end. I think Deepak will, try to sort them out and give it to us. But yeah, I like the questions already. Looking forward to that. So going back to the presentation now. So because we have, I think, getting close to running out of time. So these are some of the prompt templates for deep review, right? So whatever your query may be, you can just say, from top publications published in last 5 years, you can combine these things. You can say with open access PDFs, you can say from Nature General for this conference. You can also try author name by this author and stuff, but I would say conference and journals would be better. So these are some of the templates, and the ones that are most interesting are where you yourself type, like the clinical trial one, where we typed saying only which has clinical trials mandatory and 1,000 participants mandatory. So those are the things that I would ask you to type. The other tips are how you answer those 4 questions. The more you answer, the more specific the results will get. And be very specific in all the filters, right? Yeah. I think since these are the two tools, I hope you got good value. I think, Deepak, we can open the flow for questions.